Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Introduction to the endocrinology is described in this video. The well-orchestrated response by neurotransmitter, endocrine hormones, neuroendocrine hormones that have got paracrine or autocrine effect, along with cytokines such as interleukin, lymphokines, and adipokines, are responsible for uh, uh, activities of the cell, tissue, and organs of the body. Together, they are responsible for all the activities. The classification of these chemical messengers is shown in this table. The neurotransmitters are actually secreted from the axon terminal of the neuron, and they're released into the synaptic cleft. And the target is postsynaptic neurons or cells. Examples are acetylcholine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. The hormones, endocrine hormones, are secreted from the endocrine glands or cells, and they are released into the bloodstream. And their target is distant organ or cells. The examples for these hormones is insulin, cortisol, T3, T4, and estrogen. Neuroendocrine hormones are secreted from the neurons, and they are also released into the bloodstream. Their site of the action is distant target organ or cell, and their example is ADH, oxytocin, that is secreted from the hypothalamic neurons. Then some of the agents or messengers have got paracrine effect. They are secreted from the local cells and diffuse through the extracellular fluid, and they affect on neighboring different type of the cells. The examples are nitric oxide and prostaglandins. Then some of these chemical messengers have got autocrine effects. They they are secreted from the local cell, and they are diffused through the extracellular fluid and act on the same cell that secreted them. And the example is interleukin 2 that is secreted from activated T cells. Then there are some cytokines that are released from immune cells or adipocyte. Their mode of action is versatile. Some of these have got autocrine, paracrine, or endocrine effects. So these target cells for these are immune cells, distant tissue, and adipose tissue. And examples are interleukin 1, interleukin 6, tumor necrotic factor alpha, and leptin, that is an adipokine. How these various chemicals or messengers, they are involved in homeostasis of the body through interaction. For example, hypothalamus have got some neural stimuli, and posterior pituitary then secretes a hormone. Also, some are released from anterior pituitary, and they are released into the blood. From the blood or through the blood, they are released or they act on the effector organ through the receptor ligand interaction and produce their effect. Similarly, adrenal medulla may also produce some of the hormones that are secreted into the uh, blood, and they produce their effect. The interplay of the chemical messengers form the molecular communication backbone of human physiology. Understanding their source, mechanism of action, and range of effect is essential for diagnosing and treating various pathologic conditions. This illustration presents the major endocrine gland and hormone producing tissue in the human body. It demonstrates both the central, the brain-based, and peripheral, the organ-based endocrine structure responsible for the regulation of critical physiological process through hormonal signaling. The cranial central nervous system based endocrine glands are hypothalamus located in the brain, and it acts as the master regulator. It produces, releasing and inhibiting hormones that control the anterior pituitary, directly secreting ADH and oxytocin in the posterior pituitary and pituitary gland that is termed as hypophysis cerebri. It sits below the hypothalamus in the sella turcica, and it has got two parts, anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary is termed as adenohypophysis and posterior is termed as neurohypophysis, and this pituitary gland secretes growth hormone, thyrotropic stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, antidiuretic hormone, and oxytocin. The pineal gland, it is found near the third ventricle, and it secretes melatonin to regulate the circadian rhythm. Then there are cervical and thoracic endocrine gland. One is the thyroid gland or thyroid that is located in the neck anterior to the trachea. It secretes T3, T4 and calcitonin. Then there is parathyroid gland. These parathyroid glands are embedded posteriorly in the thyroid, and they secrete parathyroid hormones that are responsible for calcium homeostasis. Thymus gland is located in the anterior mediastinum. It is important for T lymphocyte maturation in childhood. It secretes thymosin, especially in early life. Then there are abdominal endocrine organ. One is adrenal gland. The adrenal gland sits atop each kidney. The cortex secrete cortisol, aldosterone, and androgen, while medulla secrete epinephrine and non-epinephrine. The pancreas is another abdominal endocrine organ. It has also got exocrine component. The islets of Langerhans, they secrete insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin. The kidney also acts as an endocrine gland. It produces erythropoietin and renin, and it also activates vitamin D. The stomach and small intestine, they also act like endocrine gland as they secrete gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, uh, glucagon inhibitory peptide, and motilin. Then there are reproductive and other hormonal tissue. The reproductive tissue first is ovary that is present in female, and it secretes estrogen, progesterone and inhibin, while in male testes produce testosterone and inhibin. Adipose tissue also acts like endocrine organ, and it secretes leptin, adiponectin, resistin. Collectively, they are called adipokines. This table is summarizing the effect. Here you can see that the hypothalamus, it secretes releasing and inhibiting hormone such as, and also ADH and oxytocin regulate pituitary and neuroendocrine integration. Then pituitary gland secretes growth hormone ACTH, TSH, follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, antidiuretic hormone, and oxytocin. And this pituitary is master endocrine control of peripheral glands. The thyroid secretes T3, T4, and calcitonin and responsible for metabolism and calcium homeostasis. Parathyroid hormone is released by the parathyroid gland and it raises serum calcium. Adrenal glands secrete cortisol, aldosterone, and catecholamines, and they are responsible for regulation during stress, metabolism, and fluid balance. Pancreas secrete insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin also. The major pancreatic hormone are responsible for glucose regulation. Gonads secrete estrogen, testosterone, and inhibin, and they are responsible for reproductive function. GI tract secretes gastrin, secretin, and cholecystokinin, and this is associated with digestion regulation. Adipose tissue secretes leptin and adiponectin. They are responsible for energy homeostasis. This is a tabulated summary of the hormones produced by hypothalamus and pituitary gland, uh, both anterior and posterior pituitary, and detailing their origin, names, major physiological function, and chemical structure. Most of these are peptides. Most of these, you can see, most of these hormones are peptides acting through membrane-bound receptors. Dopamine is unique among these. It is listed as an amine and function primarily by inhibitory modulation. The hypothalamus regulates the anterior pituitary through releasing and inhibiting hormone, and the posterior pituitary stores and releases hormone synthesized in the hypothalamus. In the upcoming lectures and upcoming video, we will study all these hormones in detail. This is the continuation of the same table and it provides a comprehensive summary of the hormone producing glands, the hormone they secrete, their major physiologic function and their chemical structure, amine, peptide or steroid. It is particularly useful for understanding of the endocrine system pathology. Steroid hormones, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone are lipid soluble. These steroid hormones are lipid soluble and they act via intracellular receptor. The peptide hormone, as we have just discussed, they are water soluble. These peptide hormone are water soluble and just like insulin and parathyroid hormone, and they act via membrane bound receptor. Amine or amine hormones such as T3, T4, epinephrine, they are derived from tyrosine and they have got diverse function. In this table, a comprehensive summary of the hormone produced by non-classical endocrine glands and tissues including the uh, placenta, kidney, heart, stomach, small intestine and adipocytes is given. Also, the function, their physiological effect and chemical nature is described. Placental hormone mimic the function of the ovaries during pregnancy. Kidney derived hormone bridge the fluid balance, renin, bone health, through calcitriol and hematopoiesis through erythropoietin. The gastrointestinal hormone, they are gastrin, secretin, and cholecystokinin. They are responsible for fine-tuned digestion. Then leptin, that is a key adipokine, it links the fat storage to the central appetite regulation and energy expenditure. The endocrine system, via its diverse array of hormones, serve as the master regulatory network that sustains life, and it orchestrates the body's long-term homeostasis. So this table is summarizing the major function, uh, major effects of these organ or endocrine organs. Here you can see that the growth and development is dependent on the endocrine gland, and insulin like growth factor, growth hormone, and thyroid hormone, they are responsible for growth and development. If there is deficiency of these, that will result in dwarfism, mental delay, and stunted growth. Their metabolism is governed by thyroxine, triiodothyronine, insulin, glucagon, and cortisol. And if they are deficient, there will be sluggish metabolism, hypoglycemia, fatigue, and obesity. The water and electrolyte balance is dependent on ADH, aldosterone, and atrial natriuretic peptide, and the disarray or dysfunction will result in dehydration, low blood pressure, electrolyte imbalance. The estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, luteinizing hormone, and FSH, they control the reproduction and sexual function, and their imbalance will result in infertility, delayed puberty, and lack of sexual development. The cortisol, thyroid hormone, estrogen, and testosterone are also responsible for mood and behavior, and their disruption or imbalance will result in depression, irritability, and cognitive dulling. The insulin, glucagon, thyroid hormone, they are also involved in utilization of the energy, and if they are uh, not regulated properly, it will result in hyperglycemia, low energy, and fatigue. The cortisol and adrenaline, the key hormone for stress response, if they are not regulated properly, they will result in poor stress tolerance, hypoglycemia, or weakness. So the growth hormone will result in stunted growth in children and mental loss or muscle loss in adults, while the thyroid hormone deficiency will result in clinical picture of myxedema, slowed reflex, and fatigue. Insulin deficiency will result in diabetes mellitus and glucose intolerance. The sex hormone, if absent or deficient, they will result in absent secondary sexual characteristic, infertility. ADH or antidiuretic hormone deficiency will result in polyuria and dehydration, that is termed as diabetes insipidus. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any query, please write in the comment box.